January 20th, that's the day when Midnight's PrePatch lands, and this one's actually larger than most. We're getting a full UI overhaul, a new spec, a new race class combo, Transmog being rebuilt from scratch, a bunch of housing features finally unlocking, of course, the login screen, and a whole bunch of other things, as well as the likes of the new questline, campaign, and of course the event. All of this is going on before Midnight launches, and if you've been waiting for a clean moment to come back, well, this is it. Today, you're going to learn everything going on with Midnight PrePatch. Now, as much as I love them, here's the thing about noise-canceling earbuds. They isolate you. It's great for focus, but it's not good for being present or maybe, going for a run without getting slammed by a car. Now, this is where Raycon's new Essential Open Earbuds solve this exact problem. And the cool thing is they're basically a new style of earphone I'd never seen before. They have this open ear design that lets you stay connected to the world around you whilst you're still enjoying your favorite music, podcasts, calls, anything. Perfect for a jog, a commute, or just kicking back. Personally, I've been using these when I'm just around the house, where I can be listening to my Rest is History episodes and still be social without, the awkward, hold on a second, you've interrupted me, let me take my earbuds out moment, which can just spurt a bit of tension into the room. Now, they're lightweight, the hook keeps them secure, and with 36 hours of battery between everything, it means I'm barely thinking about charging. So, the Essential Open Earbuds are here to help you crush your New Year goals, and you can go to buyraycon.com/Bellular Open to get 20% off site-wide, and a big thanks to Raycon for sponsoring. To begin, a quick orientation and timing. PrePatch hits January 20th for NA, 21st for EU. Then, the Twilight Ascension event launches 1 week later on January 27th, and then Midnight Early Access is February 27th, with the full launch being on March 2nd. That essentially gives you 6 weeks to get ready through PrePatch, and now that I've said that, let's start talking about the features and the things you'll be able to play through all of PrePatch. Demon Hunters are finally getting their third spec. It's called Devour, and it's a mid-range caster that's built entirely around void magic. It still uses glaives, but the soul harvesting abilities have these gorgeous scythe animations, and the entire visual kit is being rebuilt around cosmic void energy. It is genuinely a spectacle to look at and play. Now, this spec also comes with a new hero talent tree that's called Annihilator, and it's shared between Devour and Vengeance. The existing Fellscar tree has just been renamed to Scarred, and now it shifts to being Devour and Havoc, and that does mean that Vengeance actually loses access to it entirely. Now, alongside this new spec, we're also getting Void Elf Demon Hunters. You unlock them through a short quest line, they get this unique metamorphosis visual, and they keep their spatial rift racial. But there's actually a few catches. So, Devour converts all of your Fel abilities to Void, right? It's all purple-blue stuff. But you can't actually make your eyes purple in the character customization. You are stuck with Fel green eyes on a Void Elf that is casting Void abilities, which is fairly jarring. Blizzard really needs to fix that. And there's a second catch in this as well. Blizzard originally promised, quote, thematic tattoos full of void energy for Void Elf Demon Hunters, but that line has been quietly removed from their blog post, and there's currently a bug where existing tattoo options clip through their hair, and now, whether or not we're getting proper void tattoos is basically not clear whatsoever. And then third, minor little thing, but a nice one, Void Elves still will get their 50% Transmog cost discount at Midnight, but it won't apply to the new outfit slots, only the traditional per-piece Transmog. But don't worry, I'll touch the new Transmog system later on. The good news is, it's fairly awesome. Okay, that's Demon Hunters, but as it turns out, everyone else is changing. Every class in WoW is being reworked alongside the Demon Hunters. That means every talent tree and really the whole underlying design philosophy. Blizzard's goal is simplification, but in a way that should mean less maintenance buffs, fewer filler nodes, and more pathing within your talent tree that will actually change how you play. And you have to remember, this is all designed for a post-Addon restriction world, and because of that, Blizzard wants combat to be readable without weak auras telling you what to press. Whether this will actually land or not, we will see. Fair warning though, classes will probably feel at their worst during PrePatch. You see, we're stuck at level 80 without the extra talent points and the Apex talents that will come as we level up to 90. That means that specs will feel incomplete, but should come together more when Midnight actually launches and you get those additional talent points. If you want more details, we've been covering the winners and losers of each class overhaul in a separate series, so it's a hell of a watch if you want that. But it's not the only thing happening. There's also a stat squish coming. Essentially, your numbers will look dramatically lower on January 20th, so don't panic and think your gear got deleted. They've just made all the numbers smaller, and that's all to make the health and damage numbers readable instead of, you know, the Legion-era number soup that we've been somewhat living with. Speaking of readability though, Blizzard's answer to the add-on restrictions lands in pre-patch, and it is official replacements for most of the things that they decided to lock down on. So, I'll go through them here. Official damage meters are finally in World of Warcraft. They've got 3 visual styles and a lot of customization. You can track damage done, healing, interrupts, dispels, damage taken, and avoidable damage taken, which does mean you can now shame people using Blizzard's very own UI. Of course, it is not as much as you could expect from details, but it is a far cry from the worst case that people were fearing when it initially made it onto alpha. Another thing is the official boss alerts. I have to say, these are genuinely comprehensive. There's a full timeline system showing upcoming abilities with cast bars and role-specific filtering, so you can hide warnings that aren't relevant to what you're actually playing. Along with that, we've got official nameplate customization that covers cast bar info, aggro display, buff and debuff filtering, and all of that with multiple visual styles. And you know what? It's actually really good. Then there's the cooldown manager, which thankfully has got significant upgrades as well. There are profiles that you can import and share, sound alerts on specific abilities where you can basically pick from dozens of sounds and preview them in the menu, and the external defensives tracker is finally here, and it will basically show you what your healers are actually giving you. There are other changes as well. The personal resource bar is now a separate edit mode element, so you can reposition it wherever you want. You can hide the health and power bars if you don't need them, or you can choose to only show them in combat. So finally, it is something that is flexible and actually feels like it's part of the rest of the UI. And on top of all that, party and raid chat bubbles, DR tracking display, and updated debuff borders so you can actually see what's killing you. I've gotta say, the debuff borders are really nice, and at least for me, they do feel quite readable. Now, there's also a new Journeys window in the Adventure Guide. This will show you all of your renown tracks across Dragonflight, The War Within, and Midnight. So that's progress bars, rewards at each level, what's purchasable. Basically, it's finally a way to see what you're actually working toward without hunting through 20 different NPCs, or, more realistically, just going onto Wowhead. Now, there's other UI changes as well, mostly for accessibility. We've got new audio assist alerts, there's text-to-speech for whenever combat starts, ends for your health, your target name, and that's all with customizable voices, speeds, and thresholds. So if you need audio cues, they're finally built into the game. All of this, then, is Blizzard's answer to why did you break add-ons? Now, whether it's genuinely enough for WoW's power users is unclear, but I will say it's not nothing, and it needs to be taken with a little bit of context, and that is that in Midnight, well, there's less filler bullshit in most fights. The combat readability is genuinely leaps and bounds better in many cases, certainly to where WoW has generally been over the last decade. So with those improvements in mind, I think a lot of this should actually make sense and should work well for the vast majority of WoW players. But that's not everyone. If you're pushing the hardest keys, or if you're a mythic raider who wants the ultimate cockpit for your character, well, yeah, the official option won't be enough. And a lot of that is by design, because Blizzard doesn't want the UI to be that powerful. They want us looking at the game. Another system getting attention is Transmog. Now, I've already covered the new outfits and situation system in depth already. Basically, the TLDR is that Transmog now applies to the actual item slot rather than the gear itself, and it can now automatically swap based on context. So you can swap into your home gear whenever you walk into your player house, your city gear when you walk into the city, dungeoning gear when you walk into a dungeon, PvP gear when you walk into a battleground. All of that's customizable. Now, there were some concerns over the price of this system, but the good news is Blizzard made it radically cheaper after player feedback. Okay, 2 quick additions for pre-patch though. Tier set acquisition has been improved. Basically, completing a higher difficulty will now unlock all lower tints automatically. So as an example, if you go and clear Mythic and Taurus, and you get a whole bunch of gear from Mythic and Taurus, that will automatically unlock all of the stuff from Heroic, Normal, and LFR. And another nice thing, warriors can finally transmog 2-handed weapons onto 1-handed weapons without needing any specific weird talent thing. It just works in the base UI. Over on the housing front, early access will have been live for about 6 weeks by the time pre-patch hits, but the Endeavours feature won't unlock until pre-patch on January 20th. Now, you can think of Endeavours as being a little bit like the trading post, but for your whole neighborhood. So they'll rotate monthly, and your neighborhood manager will pick a theme from a set of options, like Niffin, Grummels, Drakthir, or Mechanomes. NPCs will show up that have got tasks and decor for sale, and each endeavor has got between 20 and 30 different tasks that are covering dungeons, raids, delves, world quests, gathering, and some neighborhood-specific activities. Now, the good news is that the tasks scale to neighborhood size, so a 50-player neighborhood will need more completions than a 10-player neighborhood. And the way it works is that if your neighborhood just gets quiet over time, then future endeavors will scale down to match that. And the way it works is simple enough. If you complete enough tasks, everyone gets bonus endeavor currency plus full vendor access. Now, completing tasks also earns neighborhood favor. This will level up your house and unlock some other rewards along the way. And the whole system is basically designed to make you want to visit other neighborhoods, meet people, see what themes that they've picked, because yes, it's not just for your own neighborhood. If you visit someone else's, you can actually get involved in their stuff. Essentially, this is Blizzard betting that housing needs some social glue. Reasons to say, stick around in your own place or to visit strangers. But there is a little more than just that. Old renown tracks will now reward housing decor items. As an example, the Valdrakken Accord gives you an oven, a fountain, a stone table, and a grand mirror at various levels. The Dragonscale Expedition has a rug and a telescope, the Council of Dornegal has windows, books, and a cooking recipe, Assembly of the Deeps has a shelf wall, and even the newer War Within renowns are covered as well, so Cartels of Undermine, Galagio Loyalty Rewards Club, Flames Radiance, they've basically got decor baked in, and expect all of this to be going on with all of the new Midnight renowns as well. So basically, it's worth checking in on your renown progress because you may already have loads of housing rewards just waiting to be claimed whenever you log in. Now, there's another small quality of life improvement coming as well for housing, and that is the Harvesting Hatchet is going to become a permanent learned ability in pre-patch, so you won't have to carry the thing around in your bags. You just use it once, and when you do that, Find Lumber will appear in your tracking menu forever. Okay, that's a lot of systems and things. Let's get on to the meat, the event. The event starts a week after pre-patch launches, so we're going to have it for 5 weeks in total. You'll find a new questline that's called The Cult Within. It starts with Ramath for the Horde and Umbric for the Alliance, and in it we're investigating a new cult in the Twilight Highlands. They're not the Twilight Hammer that used to hang out there. They're the Twilight Blade. Essentially, same aesthetic but under slightly new management, and they overtly serve Xal'atath. You'll have first met them in the patch 11.2.7 questline. Now, what about the event? Well, the event follows the standard pre-patch structure. So there's an intro questline, then there's world quests, weekly quests, and rares scattered throughout the zone. Some of these rares are callbacks to old Cataclysm dungeon bosses, which is a fairly nice touch, and there are two broad types. Simple, soloable ones where you just land and kill them, and then bigger ones where you've got to stop an Ascension ritual that will basically need more players to be involved, and all of this gets you piles of loot. Now, for many, an important part is the catch-up gear. It is champion track this time round, not the veteran track that we would usually expect. So essentially, it's normal raid gear. Not that that's going to be too important, you'll quickly get rid of it as you hit level 90, but it is a Mog to hunt, and if you want to take the new class changes out for a spin, it's good to have a geared character to do that with. As always, there's a new currency. This time it's Twilight's Blade insignias, and thankfully, it is warband wide. This means that you can farm it on your main to just go and gear up your alts really quickly. There's also no weekly cap either, it just seems you can farm this out to your heart's content. Cost-wise, each armor piece costs 40 of them. That means a full set across all 9 slots should cost you 360. Then there's jewelry, which is a neck and 2 rings, but no trinkets are sold, so that's another 120. As for weapons, those are either 40 or 80, depending on whether they're a one-hander or a two-hander, so in total, budget somewhere between 520 and 560 of the currency to fully kit out a character. Now, the event stuff doesn't just drop those. You'll also get Valor Stones, Crests, and Resonance Crystals, so as you get this champion gear, you can also just upgrade it while you're farming up the catch-up stuff. Now, there is one thing to be aware of. It seems that sub-level 80 characters get XP from the zone, but don't get the currency or gear. So basically, level up first, then do your farming, and of course, you can bet that we'll be testing any and all power leveling strategies once this goes live. But let's get back to the rewards. So you can also get early drops of the Thessalian Midnight armor sets from mobs in the zone. They're grey quality in BOE, and they've got names like Threadbare for cloth, Frayed for leather, Stained for mail, and Brittle for plate. So hardly the flashiest gear, but if you're a completionist, this is something that you can get, and if you want a more lo-fi aesthetic, it's good for that as well. And if you don't want to farm them, well, they will be on the auction house. And if you do want to farm them, maybe you'll be able to make some money. But going back to our event currency, there are also vendor rewards. We've got a retrained Skyrazor mount for 100, 3 pets, Scruff, an Emerald Spore Bit, and Raydra for 30 each, a Weather Twilight's Hammer Armaments weapon arsenal for 40 that contains a one-handed sword, an axe, a mace, plus a two-handed axe and a mace, as well as a dagger, a bow, and a gun, so there's loads of those, as well as the well-worn Twilight Cultist's attire ensemble for 40, which covers the head, shoulder, and chest. There's a toy called the Twilight's Blade Top Secret Strategy Training Guide for 30, and then 3 pieces of Silvermoon housing decor. A wooden chair for 50, an enchanted candelabra for 50, and a Sindorai Winged Chase for 75. Oh, that was a dense segment. TLDR, loads of transmogs. And then finally, if you complete the campaign, you'll get the Twilight's Blade Tabard and the Definitely Not a Cultist title. And if you're a real big brain, they have made something just for you. Now, Mythic Raiders may not be able to do this, but there's a tic-tac-toe minigame in the event base camp, and if you beat the AI, you'll get an achievement. Hard stuff. But next, let's talk about something that'll be a lot easier. So while you're farming the event, you may want to level some alts, and if that's what you want to do, yeah, front load it. Here's why. The Winds of Mysterious Fortune returns with PrePatch. That gives you a plus 20% XP buff baseline that can be increased to plus 30% with the potion drops that you'll get from Mysterious Satchels. But even better, the Turbulent Timeways event is also still running until February 10th, so assuming Blizzard doesn't take that down early, there'll be another 30% on top. So if that all stacks up properly, you'll get plus 60% XP for the first 3 weeks after PrePatch launches. So if you want to roll a Void Elf Demon Hunter or level anything for Midnight, this is your window to do that. And if you're a big grinder and you hate PvP, well, I've actually got something pretty cool for you. As of PrePatch, the Comp Stomp Brawl is actually permanent. It's been renamed to Training Grounds, and it's basically the player versus AI battlegrounds that we know, and it's across 3 maps, the Arathi Basin, Silvershard Mines, and Battle for Gilneas. It's, of course, now available all year round instead of just being locked to the Brawl rotation. And what this means is, if you've ever wanted to learn some PvP basics without getting stomped by gladiators, you can do this. But I think for most people who maybe want transmogs, well, they're going to use this to farm honor and marks of honor fairly efficiently, so if that's your thing, it's worth checking out. And while that's it for new pre-patch features, I really do need to point out that we actually just got patch 11.2.7 fairly recently in December of 2025. It's got quite a lot of new features and things like the Brawlers Guild, so if you're just returning to the game, there's a lot of stuff that you can check out that's basically there and is pretty damn good. So overall, it's a heavy pre-patch, there's plenty to do, there's lots to prepare, and you'll probably want to spend pre-patch time testing out new classes. So to actually understand what's coming, check out our Winners and Losers of Midnight series. We've designed it to be viewable by everyone, not just people who are like deep experts in classes. So if you want to just get a run through of every class and spec in the game and basically see, that sounds cool, or maybe something that doesn't sound cool, that video should get you up to speed and give you a lot of brilliant starting points.